But what's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. Be sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the content and want to see absolute more, so stay current and up to date with all live streams and videos that are posted just by reaching up there and triggering that bell. But today we're going to be going over and discussing the Unbreakable talent, an in-depth view, and I have tons and tons of clips demonstrating each of these different phases that we'll be going over step by step. If you haven't stayed up to date with the current PTS, then the current Unbreakable stats according to the PTS as of right now, and that is subject to change because as we all know, things tend to fluctuate quite frequently when it comes to PTS, so these numbers can still change. But currently, Unbreakable PvE is 25%, and then we'll be going to 70% once Unbreakable is procced. In PvP, currently it is 15%, and that'll be going to 25%, and will require 11 defensive attributes. And if you don't know what Unbreakable is 25% of max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 5 seconds are consumed. Now, just as I stated in PvE, that 25% will be going to 70%. And PvP, currently it is 15%, but that will be staying right at 25% on both PvP activities, whether you're in occupied or the normalized, right? So, let's go over the different variations of the Unbreakable talent. And first, we'll start by just proccing Unbreakable by itself alone, so that way you see the results of it by itself and kind of give you more or less a baseline. And it also is dependent on, mine has 244,263. So 25% of that, you can do the math. But anyways, here's the clip showing you and demonstrating you just purely Unbreakable by itself. Completely take off my armor. So currently, as you've seen, that was the normalized, and you really did not get that much back for utilizing Unbreakable just by itself, right? So it doesn't seem a fair or even good trade-off when you kind of pair it or put it up against, such as my last video, the talent Bloodsucker. And not a lot of people cover these these talents that are going under the radar. They're all about the whole, the meta talents. Because, as we all know, damage, that is what is definitely in. But, if you can't hit your shots and can't stay I can't even talk. You can't stay alive long enough in order to inflict that damage, then what is the point of stacking all that damage? So, when you accompany things like Unbreakable with Safeguard, you get a totally different result, right? Because Safeguard is killing a target grants a 150% bonus to repairing and healing effects. And it states now 20 seconds, but that'll actually be changing. And I believe it is 5 seconds. But send you over to some gameplay, and you'll see the difference between having Unbreakable procced all by itself or accompanying it and fortifying it with such talents such as Safeguard. So check this out. So this is, alright, this is my good buddy Zero and Joe, and we're here to test out basically the combination of Safeguard, Unbreakable, and Blacksmith. So, first, have to kill one. Take my armor off, Zero. Yeah. Well, as you can see in that clip there, that when pairing Unbreakable with Safeguard, you get a definite larger chunk of your armor back. You get more bang for your buck, so to speak, if you like that terminology. And that is basically consistent with Division. Either you go all damage, or you more or less have to use 2 talents in order to get significant results, as you've seen in those 2 clips. Just Unbreakable by itself isn't really that viable, and of course it does depend on your armor. But when you have almost 250k armor, it still is very, very minimal just to get back that little 25%. Yes, in PvE, you will be getting back basically what I got in PvE while testing it out, almost 3/4 of your armor back. So in PvE, definitely viable. And then if you stack it in with Safeguard and PvE, you're definitely going to get back all your armor. But on PvP, you basically have to get a kill in order to proc Safeguard and then have your armor, pretty much bust, and then you're going to get, that large chunk of armor. But just Unbreakable by itself, is not really that viable when it comes to PvP. But let's explore other options along with those two talents, and let's see what we can come up with and see if we can make things a little more viable, shall we? Later. Anyways, we're going to proc Safeguard and Blacksmith at the same time and see how much you get from initial chunk. Blacksmith currently is 25%, but if Safeguard is procced at the same exact time, does it boost that 25%? And so that is what we're here to test. Alright, so I'm going to Flag Rogue. Alright, take my armor all the way down to leave me with 1/4. Just one of you shoot. Okay, that'll work. Alright. Then. Nope. So. No, this is Blacksmith. It's according to a kill. See? See, my armor jumped up. Well, most of you are probably wondering, well, that is Safeguard and not Unbreakable being paired, but more or less Blacksmith being paired with Safeguard. And there are a few reasons why. We were theory testing more or less and seeing if you could proc all three at the same time, and if you can, then that is well over 100% total armor back, right? So it seems very, very logical, but extremely possibly OP. But as you see in the PvP, it seems like since both Safeguard and Blacksmith are dependent on getting a kill first before they are procced, in PvP it seems like there's a conflict of interest and one supersedes and overrides the other. I procced Safeguard by downing him, but then my buddy had to pick him up in order for me to completely down him again in order for me to get Blacksmith, right? And that was with Safeguard still being active when both should have been activated on that originally that first kill when I downed him. So on the second clip was more or less PvE with just Safeguard and Blacksmith, and it worked seamlessly perfect. I killed the NPC, it procced Safeguard and Blacksmith at the same time, and that is the chunk of armor that you saw. I was not using Unbreakable. So that is where the second clip more or less came before the first one. That is where I got the idea, well, what if I could, combine the Blacksmith, which is getting a kill with your sidearm repairs 25% of your armor, and then it's going to 50%. So I was like, well, if I can combine all of these three, even with the 25%, will definitely be, well worth it, especially since I just put out the Doc Holiday pistol build, which is completely OP, so go check that out. The link is in the description. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. So that was what I was trying to do. So once they get this fixed, then definitely very viable in PvP. But that is dependent on several things. If they can get it fixed to where it procs at the same time as it does in PvE, or specifically come out and state that it is not going to work like that for PvP, right? And no official statement has been said, and I've asked numerous times and haven't heard anything back. But long story short, definitely Blacksmith paired with Unbreakable is definitely very, very viable in PvE. PvP, Unbreakable by itself is not really worth it. Now, if you accompany Unbreakable with the likes of Safeguard, definitely. Or if you want to pair such things like Blacksmith with Safeguard, if you can get it to work, and have them provided that they fix it is definitely going to be great. And then along with Unbreakable, then you can see the complete synergy of Unbreakable, Blacksmith, and Safeguard. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm just trying out different things and not going along with the so-called meta, because I know there's other viable things and I am currently on the hunt and finding them. But let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you fudging later.